We're back. Welcome back to
Back
the
like a
yes.
like a scary movie.
Welcome back to the Mary Elizabeth Jones Variety Hour, and I hope y'all had a wonderful break. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so good to be back.
Hope you brush your teeth. Use some mouthwash. I'm Kay Lazar, and he just can't quit me on this show. But thanks for having me here. Is this the show or is this just a rehearsal? This is a rerun.
This is a second half.
Oh, the second half.
Yes.
Oh, I thought the first half was just a rehearsal. I didn't know the camera
No,
was
it was a
on.
real show.
I was told, just if you make a mistake, just keep talking. Think of it as like a play.
Right,
You know,
right.
in a movie, they could always say cut and then you'd start over.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. That's not really a good way for an actor to be,
Mhm.
because then theoretically you could be making a movie the rest of your life. I mean, cut, let's do it again. Cut, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in a play, an hour, 2 hours, it's over.
Yeah.
On to something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I we were talking about baseball earlier.
Yeah.
Somebody actually said baseball doesn't have a time limit.
Yeah.
So, there's an hour of football, there's an hour of basketball.
Right.
Said that the baseball, theoretically, if nobody gets out or nobody scores,
Yeah.
the game could go on forever.
Yeah.
Could never stop. We used to play sports. We used to play with the like kickball or something with these neighbor kids, and they were real poor sports. And every time they were losing, they'd always stop the game and say, "Okay, let's start over." And I'm not kidding. One game we actually started over 3 times, and at the third time I said, "Nah, we've already played more than the time allotment a game should be."
Yeah.
Kids, they always say kids don't want to. Kids just want to play. They don't really care who wins. Actually, kids want to win, and a lot of kids are really despondent when they lose.
Right.
They're real. I mean, they're like John McEnroe. They'll throw. They'll take their ball and go home.
Yeah.
And so when they go home, you can watch television.
Yeah.
My mom used to interrupt me when I was playing a game with my friends, and then she'd say, "Kevin, I've been calling you," and I said, I don't know what I don't know what she wanted. She goes, "Don't you know the Three Stooges are on?" I said, "Oh, well, I gotta go. Sorry, I gotta end the game. I gotta end. Replace me. I gotta watch the Three Stooges." This is before videos and everything. So, do you remember? Cool stuff when you were a kid that you didn't like to miss? Like what?
Oh yeah. I used to didn't like to miss cartoons like Saturday morning cartoons like I used to watch Kira the Princess Power, Gem of the Holograms,
Oh yeah,
and all that stuff, and Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Yeah, these were like '80s cartoons.
Yeah.
Okay, they were back in my day. So
I think I mentioned this before in an earlier show, was that I loved the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
yeah,
And I didn't
I used
realize,
to watch those too when I was a kid.
but what was cool about them was when I was growing up, I didn't realize they were already 20, 30, 40 years old, some of them.
Oh yeah,
And
I didn't realize it either.
and they were fresh. They
Wow.
didn't seem dated at all.
Yeah.
They didn't use, and every once in a while you'd see a reference to like Humphrey Bogart or James Cagney, and I thought that was
Oh
being
yeah.
cool and ironic and hip,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
actually those were actually the popular performers of the day when they were doing those. Now, if The Simpsons did put Bogart or Cagney or Katharine Hepburn in one of their episodes, they would be cool, ironic, and hip. But
Yeah, I think I know which Bugs Bunny episode you were talking about.
yeah,
They were like in a cartoon form.
yeah,
Yeah, they
that's
like
right.
the funny looking faces and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one with a one that has Bugs Bunny, this big star, and all these other stars are trying to get into his show. And it was like Al Jolson and the Ritz brothers
Oh wow.
and the Marx brothers. I mean, it was kind of neat, but I was cool and hip as a kid to know who those people were, when I think most people, when they were watching it, that were my age in the 70s or so, thought, "Oh, who are those? Who are those funny looking guys?"
Yeah.
Jack Benny.
Yeah.
They were they were in these things. They called him Jack Bunny. I remember that was very funny.
Jack Bunny.
Jack Bunny. But he wasn't a bunny like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I know.
And then, but you remember the commercials? You know what's weird is that they would show these old cartoons. The only thing new about them and was the commercials.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What commercial do you remember that was really cool?
There was a commercial where this lady years ago did this really weird, funny, cool thing.
Hmm.
She had her eyes popping out,
Yeah.
and
Oh wait, it was a African American woman.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
I think it made
We
her
should put
famous.
that in the comments because I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
She was on Letterman,
yes,
and she would do something called. Remember, he had stupid pet tricks. He had stupid human tricks.
oh yeah,
And what happened was, he said, "This woman does the greatest trick ever. We're not even going to tell you what she does." And she came on, and her eyes just bulged out, popped out of her sockets, and
oh,
and recessed back in. And uh, and then I think she did a skit. She did a commercial. The only time, every other time I saw her, I think Letterman had her on a few times. Usually at the end of the show,
yeah,
he goes, "What do you think of this show?" And she'd pop her eyes out and come back. That's a woman, a person in the audience. But she was, I think, what was it was a phone plan. How you could get a better phone plan or something.
yeah,
And they said, "What? This is how do you react to this new phone plan?" And her eyes bugged out and
yeah,
everything. And it was pretty wild
yeah,
to see. There's no
yeah,
special effects or anything. That Marty Feldman look
yeah, yeah,
from Young Frankenstein.
yeah.
But I remember a commercial. Oh, you got to I got to tell you a funny story. My my because I loved to act and perform as a kid.
Right, me too.
Yeah. Well, we're all
I love acting. So
birds of a feather.
yeah,
So what happened was, somebody says, "Do you have any? You need connections in showbiz if you want to make it." I still don't have connections. I still haven't made it,
yeah.
but it doesn't stop me from working. So someone said, "Do you have anyone in your family that's famous?" I said, "Yeah. You probably see my grandmother on a commercial." I said, "Your grandmother's on a commercial? Which one?" I said, "I've fallen and I can't get up."
I remember that one too. Me and all my friends used to make fun of the old lady saying that. So
Well, it's for Medic Alert or whatever it's called,
yeah,
and I remember
Life Alert. I think
Life
it's
Alert,
called. Yeah,
and I think there's different versions of the same sort of product, but the one that there
yeah,
was a famous commercial, and they did it a few times with different women. It's always a woman. You didn't see too many men on there.
yeah.
So every once in a while they have a
But
man doing
there was one man that did that
it.
that did it one time. I'm having chest
Yeah.
pain.
Oh well, that's not funny.
Yeah,
Chest
that's
pains
not
is
funny.
serious. I've fallen and I can't get up. It's hilarious. So what happened was, my this is sort of a sad story. My aunt, she was my grandaunt. She was in her late 80s and she
Yeah,
had a stroke, and she was on the floor of her apartment for almost 2 days before I came. We she didn't There was no cell phones or anything in those days. She didn't have medical alert. She didn't have any, or life alert. She didn't have any of this stuff. So I came and she was, barely conscious. She was still alive, and the rescue squad came, and she was patched up. It took a while, but maybe a month later she was back on her feet again. And but she did tell me that, that commercial where the old lady says, "I've fallen, I can't get up," and how hilarious that is. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "It's not so hilarious when it happens to you in real life."
yeah.
I said, "Yeah, I guess you
Yeah, I
you have
remember
a
some
point."
people used to say, "Why did that happen to you?" That would be so funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen to me.
Well, when I was a kid, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I know.
I
You're a
mean,
little kid.
I didn't really know any better back then.
Yeah, we used to laugh at toilet paper commercials.
Oh
We used to
yeah.
laugh at there was a diaper commercial. I remember they'd show how which diaper was the best one,
Oh.
and they'd show the baby's butts. We got a big laugh every time.
Oh my. I think my mom told me something about that. My two uncles, which were her two brothers,
Yeah,
from when they were kids, they used to laugh at. I think it was Pampers diapers.
that was it. That was the one.
And I was like, I, I remember I was like, what was so funny about that one?
Yeah,
I guess it's just called Pampers and
the
thinking.
baby's butts. I remember there was a commercial for toilet paper, White Cloud, and I
Ah,
remember whenever they got to the point where they say toilet paper, they'd say toilet paper. They'd whisper.
yes,
So then I
yes,
heard some guy at school. The teacher was talking about toilet paper. How don't use so much. Don't jam the
Yeah.
toilets with it and everything. You bratty kids. And then I said, any questions? I said, and she kept repeating toilet paper, toilet paper, toilet
Yeah,
paper. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
raised my hand and said, I thought you're supposed to whisper when you say toilet paper. Then I worked at a company, and they had a name for everything. They didn't even call it toilet paper toilet paper.
Yeah.
They called it service rolls.
Ah.
And then and so also so I would that was we so so there are all these. Oh, I remember it wasn't a commercial, but there was a show called SCTV with John Candy and Rick Moranis. A lot of people were on it. Martin
Oh,
Short.
okay.
It was like Saturday Night Live from Canada.
Yeah.
And I remember at the beginning of the show, they always had the same beginning where they get they get sent to like the Canadian Broadcasting Company's boardroom,
Yeah.
and they and they want to put on a show, and the guy would say, you cannot do a show on this network. And then you'd see in this giant high rise a
Oh.
television set being thrown out the window and crashing on the ground below. And for some reason, that always made me laugh, seeing a television set being thrown out the window. That a guy would get so mad
Yeah.
at what was on television, he'd throw the television set out the window.
Yeah.
Elvis Presley, famously, near the end when he wasn't right on drugs and everything, he actually shot his television set because he didn't like what he was watching. You know what he was watching?
I'm not really sure.
Not too many people. Everyone knows that he did this, but nobody remembers why he did this. And he never gave interviews, but it came that Robert Goulet. Remember Robert Goulet? We talked about him
Yeah,
here and
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
He appeared on the Mike Douglas show. And Elvis was this wonderful singer and all.
Yeah, yeah.
And Robert Goulet is a good singer, but
Yeah, yeah.
he didn't look like he was trying hard. He was like phoning it in.
Yeah.
And according to friends of Elvis, he was so upset with Robert Goulet on the show that he shot the television. And of course, every time Mike Douglas would appear on and Robert Goulet would appear on a talk show, they say, "Is that? I heard that Elvis shot on his television set watching you on television." It only goes to show you shouldn't have guns. Yeah. Speaking of Elvis, you know who the Jewish Elvis is?
Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond.
Yes, he's awesome.
Yes. You don't see Neil Diamond anymore, unfortunately.
I
He has
know.
Parkinson's disease.
Oh, yeah.
And
Just like you don't see Linda Ross out anymore because
she
she
has
has the same
Parkinson's
thing.
disease, yeah. So terrible disease and no cure for it and everything. So everyone has it a little different, and
Yeah.
he claims he can still sing. He just
Yeah.
can't perform live any the travails and the demands of a concert
Yeah.
tour.
Right.
But he claims he's going to record newer albums with he can still sing but he's basically retired. But this is a pretty good album. You know all of Elvis. You know all of Neil Diamond's
Oh,
songs.
yeah.
But this is a check out this record, this CD. I don't think it was ever a record. He got to start writing songs in the Brill Building in New York. People, they call it Tin Pan Alley. And in the day, it had all these songwriters like George Gershwin and Irving Berlin and all the composers for Hollywood, Johnny Mercer, people like that, Lerner. They're all there. And they all would pitch songs to popular singers or their agents and get them to sing it. And he worked there in the 60s before he didn't really become famous until probably the late 60s. He was just a songwriter. He wrote a song for the Monkees. He wrote, forget the song he wrote, was it for the Monkees? But he did write I'm a Believer is the most famous song he wrote. Probably the most famous song he ever wrote is I'm a Believer. That was a hit for the Monkees.
I have this really good album by him. I actually have a few. I can tell
Yeah.
you. There's this one when he was live at the Troubadour.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I have that.
He's a great live performer.
Yeah, it's a good album. Yeah. I encourage you all to listen to that. So,
He has in fact, when you mentioned live, I think I mentioned this before. The first concert I ever saw was in the late 1970s, and I saw he came to the Coliseum, and I thought all concerts were going to be like this. It was almost like the equivalent of seeing Elvis. It was a grand concert, and I brought my movie camera. I still have the movie film of him singing this Super 8 and sound and everything. It's great. But Neil Diamond was great. Um, I was surprised when I went to, and he had all these popular hits. And when I got to college, the college radio station, we don't play Neil Diamond. If you want the, if you want, I was a DJ. So if you want to play Neil Diamond, get a job with one of the top 40 channels. We don't play. We only play good music here. Music nobody likes. But but Neil Diamond, so he would write songs. I guess he wrote a lot of songs that he either sang himself or that tried to make it with other people. But he were friends. He was friends with all these people Lieber and Staller and Gary
Louis
Coffin.
Streisand.
No, I'm talking about songwriters.
Oh, okay.
Jerry Coffin and Carole King,
Oh, okay.
Barry Weil, um, and they have all songs on here. We mentioned last week Doc
Yeah.
Pomus and Mark Truman. They're all there.
Yeah.
The Brill Building in New York. I don't know where exactly it is, but it's I think in Midtown Manhattan. But he's singing his versions of songs like "Will You Love Me Tomorrow," "Don't Be Cruel," "Do Wah Diddy."
Yeah.
What else? Oh, you probably know all these songs: "River Deep," "Mountain High,"
Oh,
"Groovy
I love
Kind of
that one.
Love," "Sweets for My Sweet." We talked about last week.
Yeah.
"Save the Last Dance for Me" is on here. I think, is that the same? "Up on the Roof" is the name of this, and
Yeah.
that's on there. "Love Potion #9." But he doesn't sing them. He sings them like Neil Diamond would sing them.
Yeah.
"Love Potion #9" is kind of a novelty tune,
Yeah.
but he sings it, "Love Potion #9." I mean, he sings it like he sings every song like a Neil Diamond song.
Yeah.
The best song on here, I mean, the version I like, he sings "Happy Birthday, Sweet 16."
Aw.
And it doesn't
I like
sound like
that
a
one too.
creepy guy singing or a teenage boy singing. It sounds like a man singing to his daughter on her birthday.
Aw.
He sings. Let me tell you how he sings. He says, "Happy birthday, sweet 16." I mean, Neil Diamond. I used to love to imitate Neil
Yeah.
Diamond. Neil
Yeah.
Diamond. Um, What's really funny about Neil Diamond is that I heard a comedian say this once, that he sang at the Super Bowl. He sang the national anthem,
Yeah.
and he sang it. He sang it normal. "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?" But he said he should have sang it like a Neil Diamond song, and it would go something like this. It goes, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?" And he should have sang the whole song like that.
I had that album called The Jazz Singer.
Yes.
I mean, let me tell you, that album is awesome.
Yes. It's a
It-
remake of the first sound movie ever made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm coming to America.
Coming to America, Dukakis.
And Love on the Rocks.
Oh, all the songs are good. The song "Coming to America,"
Yeah.
where the guy Dukakis,
Yeah.
Michael Dukakis ran for president. He was
Yeah.
like first generation Greek American,
Yeah.
and he used that as his theme song for his campaign. "We're coming to America," and he underestimated how the anti-immigrant Americans are, and they didn't vote for him to win. He didn't become president. He didn't come close either, but he won a few states,
Yeah.
and I voted for him. But I don't have that hang up about immigration
Yeah.
that a lot. But if you really want to get votes in America and get the rural white GD vote, talk bad about America, talk bad about immigration,
Yeah.
which I think George Bush, who was running against him,
Yeah.
made a point that he was, blue blood WASP,
Yeah.
while this guy his parents came on the boat from Greece, that type of thing.
Yeah.
That wouldn't fly. I'd like to think that wouldn't fly there, or maybe it would. We still have a lot of anti-immigration hostility, but that movie, is all about the immigrant experience. The Jazz Singer, like I said, it was a remake of
Yeah.
about how the first generation of moves here tends to be very,
Right.
staid and
Right.
keeps their old rituals, while
Yeah.
cantor he was,
Right.
and then he wanted his son to be a cantor, and he wanted to be a jazz singer
Yeah.
in the Al Jolson version, and even in the Danny Thomas version. But
Yeah.
then when it got to the Neil Diamond version, it was a rock and roll singer he wanted to be,
Yeah.
and went totally against the norms of.
Yeah.
What's weird is the in its own way. when that movie was made in the 1980s, the jazz singer had almost more cliches than the one that was made in 1927, which is the first sound film. Yeah. But that's Neil Diamond, and check out this album "Up on the Roof" by Neil Diamond.
Right.
Check out anything by Neil Diamond. He's going to be good in everything.
Anything with Neil Diamond's really good.
I got to tell you one thing, one last thing about Neil Diamond, is that Neil Diamond writes these songs, all his hit songs like "Coming to America" and "Red Red Wine" and all those songs. He writes Desiree. And what's weird is that when other people sing them, they don't sing them, even if they're better singers than Neil Diamond. Like Elvis recorded, I think, "Song Sung Blue" and "I Am I Said," but I like the Neil Diamond version better. In other words, he writes just for himself. The Neil Diamond version is still probably the best version because he wrote and knows how to sing his songs. In other words, he and Red. I think "Red Red Wine" became a hit for UB40.
Yes,
and but they made it into a reggae song, made it totally different from a Neil Diamond song, even though
Red Red Wine, stay close to me. La 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 la.
You know, I found out that near the end of his career, when I saw him, the first song he sang was Desiree. But then when he performed in near the end of his career, after they hit with by UB40, he began his show with his version of "Red Red Wine," which was actually more of a Neil Diamond song.
Right.
Yes. So, but he's like he was the first concert I ever saw, but my all-time favorite band and singer in the day. Not anymore so much, but certainly when I first got interested in watching music, Debbie Harry, Blondie.
Oh, I love Blondie.
Blondie, it was a band, but there was no Blondie with no Debbie Harry, and Debbie Harry was Blondie. So.
If any of you don't know what Blondie is, it's like a punk rock, alternative band back in the late 1970s.
Yes.
Okay. And the first song that I've heard of Blondie was "Heart of Glass."
Yeah, that was the first one.
That was
everyone knows.
made as a disco song. Okay.
Yeah.
But their genre was mostly punk rock, alternative, some other new wave, type of band.
You listen to their early albums, it's all Breaking Glass and Shrieking and all. It's typical punk rock. This is back in New York underground scene of 1970s, and then they became famous with a song called "Heart of Glass," which had the most wonderful disco beat.
That was their #1 hit. They did.
But then after that, you had there were two things. It was great when they were at their peak in the late 1970s and through the early 80s. Was that every album you couldn't wait to hear it, and they would try all these different types of genres but then also you find out they had about 3 or 4 albums before "Heart of Glass." It was actually called "Parallel Lines" was the name of the album, but before that song "Heart of Glass." Yeah, and what happened was, and those are real punk albums, and they're really good. She was a beautiful woman, and she's now 70. She lied about her age in the day that she was much younger than she really was. It turns out she is now 73. No, older than that, 77 years old.
Might be close to 80 now.
Yeah, and if you see her, she still looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
She's one of the few. Someone said she's one of the few icons of the 1970s that you don't cringe when you see her. She dressed cool. She acted cool. I really liked. As a person, I really like Debbie Harry. I never really met her. I've seen her twice, and but she's still kind of elusive. I'm still trying to meet her. A friend of mine once met her and asked for an autograph on my behalf to Kevin from Debbie Harry, and I still value that, even though I didn't get a chance to meet her. But the first time I went, I had my camera taken away from me, so I couldn't take pictures. So I'm not telling you, I'm not kidding you. 30 years later, she comes to Innsbruck outdoor concert, and you could bring your camera to that, and you could paper the walls, all the pictures I took.
I would love to go see her.
They were, in fact, so many friends of mine went to this second Blondie concert at Innsbruck. They said, "Kevin, sit with us, sit with us." I said, "No, I got front row seats." I'm not sitting with anyone else. I want to see this, you know.
I know.
And it was great seeing. She had a boyfriend who's still, a member of her band, Chris Stein, who basically wrote all her
She's probably still
songs.
dating him too.
No, he actually got remarried. He got married.
Oh.
It's weird what happened. He got married, but he was still a work with her
Oh.
all during this time. Got a divorce, and then he got very sick with a
Mm.
rare skin disease, and she
Mm.
kind of retired to take care of him. And trouble is, once he got better, and they're both still alive. Once he got better, then the momentum on her career was over with,
Yeah.
So they never really got back. They try to come back, and you can still
Yeah.
look on in New York and stuff. They still
Yeah.
play small venues and stuff. Yeah, when I saw them, they were on their comeback,
Yeah.
and they were in. The only thing kind of soured me about Blondie was the band was they fired when they made their comeback. They fired like two or three of their members, original
Oh
members,
wow.
and so they were all there for the induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Mm.
and she did not allow them, the original members, to play with the new band,
Mm.
which I thought was kind of petty.
Wow.
Put it behind you, and
Mm.
which I really hate pettiness and meanness
Yeah, I know.
in that
I don't
way.
like that.
So, but other than that, I'm still a big Blondie
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah, me too. I'm a Blondie fan as well.
This album
So
is a
I'm a all singers fan.
yeah.
I'm a die-hard musical nerd.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah. So.
I'm a musical nerd,
And so
even when
is
I'm not
he.
musical.
And so is he.
Somebody said, I I heard you were an idiot savant, but maybe not so much a savant. But this album has a lot of the stuff she did
Yeah.
solo, and it's sort of a greatest hits.
Yeah.
But it's called Once More Into the Bleach, and she sings Heart of Glass. She
Yes.
sings The Tide Is High. Tide Is High is the first popular reggae song on the charts by a non-reggae band.
Yeah.
That wasn't Bob Marley or
Yes.
somebody. And then there's a song on here,
Call me.
Rapture.
Call me.
Well, I mentioned Rapture because Rapture was the
I love
first
that one.
popular rap song.
Yes.
A lot of people never liked rap or wanted to hear rap until she recorded Rapture, and
Yeah.
then oh, Debbie Harry's doing it, it must be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is good. We like Rapture.
Yeah.
Atomic was made famous in the movie Train Spotting.
Okay.
I actually put Atomic when I was making Super 8 films. I actually put Atomic in one of my movies, and it was great music to put in there. I didn't have rights or anything for it, but I put it in, to show,
Yeah.
public appearances and stuff.
Yeah.
And then years later, I guess they got the permission.
Right.
The makers of Train Spotting used it to very
Right.
good effect in
Yeah.
that, and of course they did.
Yeah.
She did songs to movies. She did, I think, the theme to Scarface, Rush Rush, and with
Yeah.
Al Pacino. And so yeah, and there's nothing. They might be. She's like
Yeah.
my favorite band of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, there are better bands, of course, but I just, and also, Lady Gaga, Madonna. There would be none of that if it
No,
weren't
no.
for Debbie Harry.
That's
So
right.
Debbie Harry. So just so I can't say enough
Yeah.
good things about
No.
Blondie and Debbie
Yeah.
Harry, and
Yeah.
if they did a show locally, I'd be there again.
No. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
this time I'll get to meet her.
No.
So. So anyway, thanks for having me on this wonderful show. You have some things going on. You have a birthday, I understand.
Yeah. My birthday's on Saturday,
Yes.
and I'm trying to plan accordingly so I could celebrate the whole weekend.
Do that.
So
It's actually it's a holiday weekend.
yes.
So while everyone else is enjoying themselves, you say, "Hey, welcome to
Yeah.
my party."
Yeah. Yeah. Then, yeah.
My birthday is usually around Easter time.
Yeah.
So when people are eating their chocolate eggs and everything,
Yeah.
going to church. So my birthday. Enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
So thanks for having me here. My name is
Absolutely.
Kay Lazar. Thanks for having me
Yes,
here.
absolutely. As always, I always love having you on the show. So.
Yes.
Well, it's time to go, everybody, and thank you all for so much for tuning in. And I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day, and may God bless you.
What's the name of the show again?
And come back to Watch the Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.